We are two health enthusiasts. We are real black women. We are about to have some real conversations about the good, the bad, and the ugly about our health. We are too fine to die, too fine to die, too fine to die.
Hey y'all, welcome to this week's segment of Too Fine to Die. I am Coach K, and this is my amazingly beautiful co-host, Dr. K. And we are two health enthusiasts, but we are two real women having real conversations about the good, the bad, and the ugly as it relates to our health. And today, I'm so glad that Dr. K is my co-host because we need a real, hopefully y'all gonna listen to an expert for today's conversation. So Dr. K, can you tell me what we're gonna talk about today?
So today, we're gonna talk about something that's not glamorous, it's not funny, but it could be life or death. And we're gonna talk about screenings. We're gonna talk about health maintenance and how do we try to prevent things from either happening at all or catching it before it gets too serious. But yeah, we can still make it fun though.
Yes, of course.
We can still make it fun because that's what we do. And
I don't believe in doing anything if I don't have fun. That's why the tagline of my business, fitness is fun, but it's not a game. I'm not gonna do nothing if I don't enjoy it, right? But can we touch on why this is so important for us to have? Because tell me if I'm wrong. I know I'm not wrong, but I'm just leading it. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
But black folks have an issue. We go on to the doctor. We're getting a test. Accepting the test. Even though they love to say something run in my family, they still won't go actually get tested, right? So, like, can we talk about the things we need to be doing, when we need to do it, like, and why it's just important in the first place?
Okay. Let me preface this conversation by giving you some of my background and experience, okay? So,
let me back up.
Clearly, maybe it's not clearly, I identify as black. Okay. I went to Howard, from New York. I went to Howard for med school and residency. I moved to Atlanta for fellowship. I've been here for 13 years. But most of the hospitals and offices that I've worked in have been predominantly black communities, right? So I've seen short blacks, tall blacks, skinny blacks, fat blacks, funny blacks, not funny blacks, dangerous blacks, nice blacks, sick. I mean, I've seen the gamut. And one thing that is consistent is that we do not talk about, prioritize preventative care, like you were talking about. We wait until it's bleeding, falling out, we holding it with one hand, the other piece is in a bag. I mean, it's just, we use the emergency room like a primary care, and then we tend to wait until it's almost too late to do something salvageable or simple.
We're very reactive
to fix it.
as
We're
opposed
very
to
reactive,
proactive.
and we're not, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think talking about screening is so important because, you know, something people like to say is like when you tell them, oh, you have cancer or you have this, right? Well, I've never been sick before. Honey, you ain't had cancer until you had cancer. You know, like I didn't walk into this room until I walked into this room. It's like health is a continuum. And oftentimes you're not those things, but that doesn't mean that there are things going on in your body that you don't feel yet. That a blood test or some other exam can't pick up on before you notice it. Because most things, once you're symptomatic, once you feel it, it's not like, oh, this is early. No, it's like, it's done some damage because now you feel it. And I want us to be more knowledgeable and more proactive about taking care of ourselves, but also start going to the doctor on a regular basis. And if your doctor does not volunteer the information, ask about it. Ask, is it time for my such and such? Can I get this? Because nobody should care about you more than you care about yourself.
And I would like to say that doctors are still human and not perfect. And you all have a lot to learn, a lot that you're carrying in there. And that's why I've always said, like, if you notice, most doctors carry that book in their pocket because they still don't know everything. They're not expected to know everything. So you have to advocate for yourself by saying, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? Hey, is this in my chart? Because you can't expect people to know everything.
And that's a very valid point. We are humans. But the other piece of that is just the way that medicine is going. It's more of a business than it is really caring about people. And that's run by insurances and legislation, where in order to make an income, in order for a hospital or a practice to pay you what they think you're worth, because reimbursements are less, we have to see more people to get more salary, to earn a living that we paid, $250,000 to do. So what does that mean? We have just kind of like factories, get in, get out, get in, get out. So even if I did know everything, I may not have the bandwidth to like really sit down and listen, or I might forget to say this or ask you, or, so sometimes it's like, if you know, or if you think, write down your questions, but ask these things in the meetings. You'll be like, you know what? You are 40. Let's get this, that, and the third. But you have to be your own advocate. Because nobody's going to care about your health more than you do.
Nope.
And I just see on so many levels how we take the healthcare kind of sector for granted, that we think, once we're in the system, if I've seen any other doctor, you should automatically know what's in my chart, And I see
wish
that
the system did do that though. Because it's so frustrating when you switch doctors, and now you have to fill out the paperwork. Go ask your new old doctor to send it to your new doctor.
But I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you why you can't trust that either. Because it is. Now I can see multiple hospitals and all that. So I went to the ER 2 days ago. Sir, what medications do you take? Oh, I don't know. Look at my chart. Okay. So let's say at the last visit they didn't put the right medications in your chart. So you want me to just copy down any old thing?
Yeah.
What if I'm using wrong information to treat you incorrectly, So it's like you need to be abreast, because what if your medication's changed?
Yeah.
So it's like it travels, but you don't want to trust what somebody else did. You still want to have a screenshot on your phone of what your active current medications are, what surgeries you had. Because like I said, people are people, and they're going to cut corners, and they're going to put in just enough. And you don't know if there's an accurate, true, full picture of what's going on with you. So don't trust me to read, because I'm like, you know what, I ain't reading this whole 10 pages or something. Like, nobody has that kind of time. So have it ready. You don't have to remember, take a picture in your phone and just show. I would be happy to jot down what's on your phone.
So what are the baseline screenings that you would suggest that everybody gets, or are there baseline, or is it based on your family's medical history? Because for me, I know I'm different. At 46, I've already had 3 colonoscopies, but that's because of my family history. I have to get those done. Like I've been getting them since I was early 20s, maybe 21, 22. So like, what are the things that we should be looking to do? Like,
so it's both.
Okay.
There's so we can talk about what standard preventative screening is, and we can talk about the outliers when you are at higher risk. Okay. So let's start with women's health in general. Once you're a kid, most kids are going to the doctor every few years if you're healthy, right? So it's not really until you're 18 to 21 where you really should be more proactive about at least going once a year to get your blood work done, check your blood pressure, and all that. When it comes to pap smears, they say starting at 21. But if you're sexually active is when you should really start getting your pap smears and getting your checks for gonorrhea and syphilis.
Let me ask you about the pap smears. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you. But the standards have changed over the years too, right? At one point it was every year, then they changed to 3 years. And my gynae, she's like, look, I don't care what the standards are. Too much can happen in 3 years. I still want to see you every year. Like, what? I don't know if you want to speak on that, but to me, like.
So, again, every medicine is the practice of medicine because it's always evolving and we're learning, right? So, I think when I was first starting getting pap smears, I was going like every year. That was what the standard was. And then once you have 3 consecutive clean ones, then you can go to every 3 years. But it also depends, in my opinion, if you're sexually active, especially if you're sexually active with multiple people,
partners.
Have your hoo-ha looked at
all the time.
If not once a year, more than once a year. Because people
get that thing checked.
But you don't know what they leaving all up in there.
Facts.
So it's like
throwing your pH off.
Yeah, but if you 17, 18, younger, they say because you're so young, but if you're young enough to be doing it, then whatever. But as soon as you are sexually active,
Yeah.
you should be having your lady bits examined, okay? And then let's say you don't have any real risk factors. Again, I think unless it changed, I'm not a gynecologist,
Sure.
but it was once you had 3 clean ones, you can go to every 3 years. So that's kind of like standard, just lady care.
Lady care.
The lady bits. When it comes to your boobs, so the big thing is like breast cancer. And Black women, we get breast cancer younger. And when I say younger, it's more severe. It's a much advanced state at younger age. Hey guys, I'm Dr. K. I'm a bariatric surgeon and co-founder of Pro Black Health. I've been a doctor for 13 years practicing, so I know that you should not wait until you're sick to be concerned about your health. Did you know that 92% of Black people are vitamin deficient? And that's why we created Pro Black Health Vitamins, to help fill in those nutritional gaps that are often made by our diets. So not only we are a vitamin company, but we are a movement where up to 50% of our profits go towards nonprofit initiatives that focus on eradicating healthcare disparities in the Black community. So I welcome you to try us at Pro Black Health, PROBLK Health.com, where an investment in yourself is an investment in the community. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer at 33.
Damn.
She died at 43.
Damn.
So standard says if you have no close relatives that have breast cancer, start getting mammos in your 40s, okay? If you have a first-degree relative like myself, my mom, your sister, or multiple people, 3 years younger than when that relative got it. So since 30, I've been getting mammograms.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. Okay.
And the younger you are, a regular mammogram may not be enough because when you're young and your tits is perky, they're a little dense, and a mammogram may show some artifacts. Let's say you may be advised to get an MRI.
Yeah.
Or even an ultrasound, just to better tell what's going on because the breast is so dense, it's hard to see everything. But every year, once you start getting them, it's typically the standard, especially if you're high risk. The thing about self-breast exams has changed. There's be like, oh, well, do your self-breast exams. You probably know how your breasts feel the best compared to anybody else. Yeah, you could say that, but how many people is really doing that, Even your doctor doing a breast exam, they found is not that reliable because your breasts change based on your hormones. So depending on what time of the month you see your doctor, there could be something there that's the same lump that comes every cycle that's benign. So we're kind of steering more towards objective kind of testing with mammograms and ultrasounds and MRIs and such. But you don't want to wait until you feel this huge thing. I've seen, women come into the emergency room with a clear mass. The mass is now a sore. The sore has maggots. And it's like...
Maggots?
Maggots. The stuff, yeah.
Maggots?
Yes, maggots. So you knew before you came in that wasn't normal. Maybe you were concerned, maybe you were scared, what is it? But there's this fear that prevents people, I think, sometimes from getting it checked out.
Yep.
But that same fear will put you in a world of hurt because now we're at a different level of having to manage this, where the treatment is more extensive, where it spreads to other parts of your body and you may not have the same options. So if something feels wrong or different, get it checked out. Ignoring it ain't gonna change nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Acting like it's not there. Or as they go,
I don't receive it.
Yeah, I don't receive
that
it.
That drives me crazy.
But what if it's cancer? Or what if it is?
Then get it fixed.
It is. Like, you ain't gonna know until you know.
Ignorance is not bliss.
But we live in this fearful state. And again, these conversations, fear is always going to happen. You don't know, any one of us can get anything down the road, but you should want to be prepared. And you want to get it before it gets you. And we need to be just more vigilant and say, you know what, I need these things. Shut up, Sarah. Yeah, you don't understand. You don't have boobs.
Hey, I am Krystal Taylor, the owner of Fitness is Not a Game. I am your health and fitness coach who specializes in helping women over 40 lose weight without dieting or exercising for more than 30 minutes at a time. It is my personal mission to help at least 1 million Black and brown families change the trajectory of their medical histories because we are not predisposed to these preventable diseases. So if you know that you need help, you're looking for a coach, make sure that you send me a message. You can go directly to fitnessisnotagame.com, and I got you. And if you're a foodie like me, because when you work with me, you are still going to eat, you're going to move, you're going to love yourself. Make sure that you go to my Amazon page, look for In the Kitchen with Krystal, where I make meal prep easy yet delicious. You are going to love the body that you get.
But we just need to be more supportive of each other. Remind your friends, have you done this test? Have you done that test, right?
That's one great thing about social media. I love when folks, because I do it too, I love when people, women taking selfies, like getting these girls checked, like reminding people to do these screenings, and that's why I'm super open about every time I go to the doctor, I'm like, y'all, this is what happened today. This is what I got going on. But so what else? I'm sorry.
Colonoscopies, right?
Yes.
You said you've had 3. I've had 1 in my 20s when I was in med school because I was having like some bleeding when I pooped. This could be TMI.
It's life.
It's not gross to me. But anyway, so I was bleeding when I pooped.
You're a doctor, ain't nothing gross to you.
Really, it's not. It's eyeballs. Eyeballs, I can't do eyeballs.
Are you serious?
So anyway.
So if I touch my eye, that would freak you out?
Yes, don't do that. So I was bleeding. I got a colonoscopy. And it turned out to be a fissure. And what a lot of people have is like...
Well, explain what a fissure is.
Towards your anus is like the muscle where you can relax it or keep it tight, either keep the poop and the farts in or get the poop and the farts out. But sometimes when your poop is hard or you're constipated because you don't drink enough water, you don't eat enough fiber, it can tear, like make a little like paper cut in your butthole. And it can bleed. And it's like, it just continuously opens because it never really heals, especially if you continue to be constipated. And that's what mine was. And I haven't had one since because I don't have a strong family history of colon cancer or anything. But I'm due, so I'm 43. So probably the next 2 years, I'll get my first actual screening one. But Blacks, again, especially for men also, when we get it. We get it younger and we get it more severely. So starting at 40, if you don't have any risk factors, inquire. Are you able to start your screening? It doesn't have to be a colonoscopy. There's something called, there's stool studies they can do. You've seen that little happy box that be dancing, and you just poop in it. And
I don't want to poop in a box.
Well,
and I'm mad if I'm the delivery person who got to pick up the doggone box of poop.
He gets paid extra.
He better.
He gets time and a half. So what happens is, so you can do that. You don't have to do a full colonoscopy. But when you start, if you have a clean colonoscopy, and no immediate family risk factors or anything else, or like ulcerative colitis or something, or IBD, you can go up to every 10 years. If you have a strong family history or they find polyps, they may reduce that to 3 to 5 years. But you don't know what you don't know. But once you know something wrong with your colon, your stool has blood in it, you got pain, you probably got a problem. And there was a guy, so many ER stories. I don't know, a few months ago, I forgot I think he had a hernia, that's what it was. He had a hernia that got stuck and we were gonna fix it, and we were talking about colonoscopies, and he was with his friends. And he was probably 51, 52. And I mentioned it, and they both looked at themselves like, yuck, not gonna do it. And I'm just like...
Men are so afraid of booty stuff.
It's like...
It's the booty.
Yeah, ain't no magic button in there. Somebody gonna press and change your life. You are what you are. You know what I mean? Like, just relax and do it. But just like...
You gonna die because you got a phobia of booty stuff.
Yeah, whatever.
Cut it out.
But it's just like, you're trying to do better for yourself.
Yeah.
But you need to do the uncomfortable things sometimes.
Yeah.
Because doing it could save you heartache, right?
Like, the thing is, I'm gonna say this. I gotta say it. Men kill me. I love y'all, but y'all kill me. They so soft. They barely get any checks, the prostate or whatever. We've been getting paps and stuff, invasive as hell, for years and decades before they even start their screenings. Cut it out.
Yeah, this crybaby dirty facing all over the place.
Look. Like, my husband still talks about the click. He happened to be in there one time when I had to get an exam. He was like, oh my gosh, was that thing opening you? I still hear the click, click, click. Well, hearing it and feeling it are totally different. I don't care about what you heard. I really don't.
But yeah, so colonoscopies, 40s on the early ends. If you have risk factors, definitely by 50.
Yeah.
So ask, if you're hitting that age, definitely ask. Other kind of screening, hemoglobin A1C for diabetes. So you can tell if you're not diabetic, pre-diabetic, or diabetic. If you're high risk, meaning that like a lot of people in your family are diabetic, probably in your late teens, early 20s, that should be part of your regular blood work. And then every year, depending on, again, what your risk factors are. If you're obese, you should probably do it every year because it's a very slippery slope.
So should you get a full blood, like, because when I go, I'm like, give me the full blood workup. Like, I'm not going in saying, give me this and that. I'm on all of it.
I think starting at like 21, it's good to have a baseline. If you're otherwise healthy, every 2 or 3 years, you can get that checked up. Once you hit mid-30s and 40s, I think every year. If you're overweight or obese or you have diabetes, every year, because you just don't know how these things are taking a toll on your body, Yeah. So there are there's so many tests that we could talk about and things we should do, but I think the key takeaway is search it out. Like, go look for it. It's almost like tag. I'm not trying to get you to tag up on me. So that means you're going to have to chase it. Even if it's bad news or something you don't want to hear, it's better to know it when it's small than this big honking thing, and now you need a colostomy bag, you need a mastectomy, you need chemotherapy. So don't be scared of the future because you can't control it anyway. So you might as well try to control it from the present and be very vigilant and do your preventative screening and ask about it.
I'm here for it.
Anything else for today?
No, I'm glad we had this conversation just because so often, as you said, by the time we go, because we're reactive, it's sometimes too late. A lot of times it's too late, whereas if we just take the time to go, take your time out once a year.
It could change your life.
It could save your life. It can change everything. And, and know your family history. That's why we have to talk to each other. We have to share with our children, with our relatives, to be able to say, okay, my grandmother, my aunt, my sister, my cousin, so that you can know if the doctor needs to give you those extra screenings. And because, like I said, I like you, as you call me an outlier, I'm an outlier. But because of that, that makes me my biggest advocate so that I can stay as healthy as possible. So this is good. I feel like we talked about this for 12 more hours.
Oh, we could. But there's so much information on our websites.
Yes.
So I have a vitamin company called Pro Black Health. And you can get more information and find out about our mission at ProBlack, PROBLK health.com. And we're on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok as well. And where can they get all the good information from you?
Look, the easiest way, I'm all the things fitness is not a game. Whether it's on YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's TikTok. Well, I like to say the old folk socials. I'm not on the snappity snaps and all that, but you can find me at Fitness is Not a Game on all the things. And make sure you follow and subscribe, like on all the pages because we have these conversations. It's all about making the information that you get digestible and practical so that, as Dr. Karleena said, it's not that it's easy, but it's simple so that you can make the simple changes so that we can live longer.
So I want to live to see y'all next week or next month or whenever the next time is.
Yeah. With that. So thanks for tuning in with us this time on Too Fine to Die because not just too fine, but too precious, too needed to die because we need you here for your future generations and our future generations because you are needed and just way too fine to die.